I just got off the phone with Tom Mercado from the Budget Committee. This thing with Favre is screwed up, Hooch.
What? They can't lump us in with that fucking Martian.
We're all in the same boat, fellas.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun. Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic. Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Good afternoon, you freaks out there. You know what time it is. It is Dragon in the Afternoon, and my co-host is escaped from the middle ward and is sitting in a chair next to me.
What's up?
So how was the hospital?
Sucked.
Yeah. And like I said yesterday, you know, a little bit of backstory about Jimmy. He got COVID a couple years ago, and we've said this on the show before. When you get sick, it's 3 to 4 times worse than the normal flu.
Well, and I've got congestive heart failure.
Yep.
Too. And COVID about killed me. So whenever I get sick, sick.
So they pumped you full of fluids and smacked your ass and told you to go home.
Yeah, I may have to go back, but you know.
Well, we all hate to hear that happen, you know, and like I said, man, you might as well go to the emergency room and get checked out. And he didn't want to leave, guys. He wanted to do the show, and then he was going to go after that. But I don't know. He sounded rough, man, like very rough. Like a car that hasn't started in 40 years, rough. So,
yeah.
And then, surprisingly, when we convinced him to go to the hospital, he left. And the neighbor that we've talked about just randomly showed up at the studio, and she's like, "Can I hang out here?" And you know, I'm trying to
I
activate.
heard a little bit. I was listening at the hospital.
Yeah, she's trying to activate a new phone, and I was like, "Well, I'm getting ready to do the afternoon show," and she's like, "Well, that's cool. Can I watch what's going on?" I'm like, "Matter of fact, we're gonna put you to work." So she was more than happy. She enjoyed it. It was a blast for her.
Good.
And I was reading some of the... I try to read as much as the stuff that's in the instant chat as I can. And, you know, there was women agreeing with her because they've been through similar situations. I mean, apparently this is a new thing where people can... You know, guys are hacking into women's cars using keyless entry and hacking their shit and... Like, wow. Guys, why you got to be... It's not the end of the world. There's plenty of fish out there. You know,
yeah.
You don't want to catch a case and go to prison for being that guy. It's like, hey, what are you in jail for? I murdered all these people. Hey, what are you in jail for? I robbed a bunch of banks. What are you in for jail for? Well, I'm an IT guy, and I, like, hacked and stalked
my ex.
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. Like, you might as well be a pedophile and get your ass beat.
Exactly.
It's like, fuck me, man. I mean, you know, and, you know, a lot of women out there scream that they're the victim and they're the victim, but I'm telling you, I've seen some shit that this dude has did. And I'm gonna catch a case, and not just me, just several people that where we live. And they're gonna end up fucking beating this guy's ass if they see him out where I live. And the thing is, guys, I live on a lake next to a national park with a big lake. And it's very high class, and it doesn't matter how much money you make or it's a gated neighborhood, you can never pick your neighbors. But we don't have that kind of trouble out where I live. And I'm not saying she's a bad person that's bringing trouble into the neighborhood. It's just shit happens. You can't pick your neighbors. But you can damn sure if they're a single mom with a 10-year-old, you can try to protect them.
And I'm sure she would, you know, She didn't think that guy was that way when she first got with him, you know.
Yeah, that's what she said on the radio. He was really nice and sweet, and
Yeah.
he was like, I could be your sugar daddy, and she's like, fuck, I make more money than you. You're like, at this
Right.
point, you're like a regular boyfriend that I buy shit for. And that's true. Nowadays, a lot of guys take advantage of women, and they pay for everything, and that shit pisses me off, because it's like,
Yep.
there's a really good story about me being at the shop and beating the fuck out of a customer. His wife come in, she wanted Lambo doors put on this C6 Corvette, right?
Mm-hmm.
And really nice woman. And she was older, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then he was the stay-at-home guy, and he plays video games all day and collects stuff.
God.
And, I don't have to work. My old lady makes all the money and blah, blah, blah. Well, it had a bra on the front of the Corvette, right?
Right.
And we had to take the fenders off to do the doors. Well, that all needed cleaned up and waxed and detailed. So we called him and we said, hey, this really needs cleaned up. I mean, we hate to put this bra back on without reconditioning it. And we were only going to charge him like $100.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to call his wife. Wife didn't give a fuck. She's just like, look, they know what they're doing. And then he come in mouthing off to us that he shouldn't have to pay that, because that should have been part of doing the doors. And we always wash all the cars, before we send them home to people, and
Right.
and this dude, he was just being a retard, and he mouthed off something to me. And I was standing at the counter, and, I've got sales people that take care of people. I don't, it's not that I don't like talking to customers. I generally work with customers that we're building an entire car for, not just
Right.
doing wheels or a stereo system. I mean, I'll talk to people, but really I have people that work for me, and that's what they do. Well,
Right.
this guy mouthed off to me, and he slammed the door to our showroom, our glass door. And I paused for a second, and it just pissed me off so bad. I walked out of the showroom, back through the office, and come out one of the side doors. And I said, now you're out in the parking lot, you're not in my building, say it to me again, bitch. And everybody was like, no, Izzy, no. And he fucking yelled it across the parking lot, and I beat the fucking hell out of him. I'm telling you, so bad, I may have fractured a bone in my wrist hitting this guy. And so,
He deserved it.
oh, he deserved it, but the story gets better. The cops show up. He doesn't want to press charges until he talks to his wife. So the wife has to make all the decisions. So,
So he's a little bitch.
yeah, pretty much. So it's pretty much a couple days later, she got involved, and she's an older black woman, okay?
Uh-huh.
So she don't put up with shit, okay?
Right.
So she come into the shop. I sat down in my office. Well, she come in the showroom, and I go, let's just go in my office and talk. She goes, what did he do? Like it was her kid. And she looked at my hand, and she goes, I do apologize. And she goes, whatever you need to do to my car, I'll take care of it. And I was like, well, at this point, I really don't care. I just want the thing out of here. So the next day, he come by and picked up the car, and I wasn't there, okay? She paid the bill with me, and then he come by and got the car. Well, about 2 weeks later, I was supposed to be out of town, and it seemed like I was going to Texas Heat Wave or one of David's shows. I don't know, one of the Heat Wave shows. And I needed something at the shop, and so I was in my dually, and I pulled in, and I'm in the showroom just kind of bullshitting with everybody, killing some time because we were meeting up with some friends, and he kept driving by, and we kept seeing him, He had this really nice Chevelle, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And when I first got there, Bobby was like, don't get pissed, it's a warranty issue. And I've already talked to him, and I'm like, okay, I mean, there was an issue with the gas shock with the Lambo door, and we just needed to fix it. It wasn't even a big deal, right?
Right.
And they were going to realign the door. Well, he was scared to death to come to the shop. So he called the shop, and if I answered the phone, he'd hang up. And I'm just like, you know what? I've had enough of this shit. So finally, one of the girls answered the phone, and I picked up one of the other lines, and I go, you got something you want to say to me? I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble. And I'm like, well, you can come by and check out the car. And And he goes, no, my wife's going to pick it up. So his wife come and picked it up. I was already gone. I'm pretty sure it was one of David's Heatwave shows.
Uh-huh.
And then about 3 weeks later after that, the dude saw my dually at the shop, and he come in and he wanted to talk to me. And he's like, I appreciate that ass whooping you gave me, and my wife whipped my ass, and I just want to tell you, I went out and got a job, so any parts I buy from you will be coming from me, not her. And I said, well, congratulations, good
You
job.
grew some balls.
Yeah, you grew some balls, so good for you. But when you think the story's done, it's not. 2 days later, the wife come in, and she wanted a new set of wheels for her car, and she goes, hey, I appreciate what you did to my husband. Finally, somebody stood up to him, because I could only beat his ass in bed so long. And I'm like, oh, shit. So, that's just a story of something that happened back in the day at the shop. And unfortunately, there's a ton of those guys. It pisses me off. They're just, I'm the wife. I mean, do you take it up your ass or something? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, a man makes the money and takes care of his family.
Yep.
Okay? And there's nothing wrong with a woman working.
No.
And if your wife makes more money than you, then you know what? It takes two in life. Okay? So, it just pisses me off, some of these fucking people. And it's just like, come on, guys, Or here's another one that I've seen is a guy will come in and would pay $80,000 for us to build them a car, but that's their daily driver.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, you could take $5,000 of that and get on Craigslist or Marketplace nowadays, and buy you a nice little S10 to drive back and forth to work, or some kind of car. Why? Well, I don't want to be caught dead in that. Well, that's where you're young and dumb. And this isn't even being young. This is like older guys.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, I got a customer with a 57 Chevy. It's actually went to SEMA. It's beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Unless his wife drives or his kid drives, he only drives that car.
Yeah.
And just the other day, I was in Uber, with the snow, and I saw that motherfucker drive by. I'm like, damn. And then
out in the snow.
Yep. And then he'll pay in the spring to have the car, the chassis and everything fully detailed and put back to the way it was. I mean, that's just a waste of fucking money when it could be. And he's got a nice garage because I've been to his house.
Uh-huh.
It's just, there's different strokes for different folks, but in the same sense, it's like, come on, man, you can't be stunting all the time. I mean, even Paul Wall fucking has a daily that isn't all, spoked out with 3-foot spokes coming out the side with choppers,
Yeah.
It's just, but, yeah, but, that's just how it is. But it's Friday, guys. It's Friday. So, what are you going to do this weekend? Get
Not
well?
sure. It's supposed to be warm Saturday. I know that. It's supposed to be like 40 Saturday, I think they said.
Yeah, we got a damn heat wave going on.
Uh-huh.
Can't beat that.
So.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Hidden Valley. And we're going to get back to the music. But then when we get back, I'm going to tell everybody what I've been up to. Because last night was a hell of a deal. I mean, like before I was on Pure Adrenaline last night with West Coast Paul, but before then I went doing some errands, and I'll explain that coming up on the hour. So we're going to get right back into the music, guys. This is Dragon in the Afternoon, Styling Radio.